I'm MarzGurl.
I'm JoshKnightTheFirst.
And welcome to episode 128 of MokkoriPlay, the only podcast dedicated solely to all things City Hunter.
On today's podcast, we're going to cover Season 3, Episode 12 of City Hunter, titled Goodbye, City, A Farewell Gift, Part 1.
Last two-parter of the season. 2 episodes to go.
2 episodes to go, and this one is actually plot relevant.
It is, and the animation's pretty good too.
There's this idea that I've had that they were saving up a little bit of money because they had a shorter episode order for this season, that maybe they figured, oh, we better save it for a plot relevant episode.
Seems to be where it went.
Yeah.
Honestly. It's pretty good. It's not bad. It looks like next week's episode also matches that animation style.
That quality,
the budget, yeah.
But beyond that, yeah, this is a very normal City Hunter episode in that our client for the week is somebody that, well, actually it's not normal when you think about it, because Ryo had every reason to go along with the plot of the week, but he's actually very hesitant because he knows there's something off about this chick.
Yeah, you can just tell. Like, when somebody is watching Ryo for not so great reasons, he knows it.
Yeah, he's aware of it.
And he getting watched a lot right now.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's not even where this episode starts, right? Because it starts with him doing a lot of drinking. Like, Cat's Eye has been closed down to the public. There's a private event happening.
And apparently the private event is just Ryo getting lit.
It's just, yeah, I was like, what is the private event exactly?
So going off here at the beginning of the episode, yeah, Ryo is just going in hard. It is already New Year's for him or something. He is just drinking and drinking. He's drinking real drinks.
Bottles and bottles and bottles.
Suntory, Asahi.
And then for some reason, another one of these cups of fiber noodle.
What is the deal with fiber noodle? I don't get it.
I was like, I've got to look it up again. Like, this is our third or fourth time seeing fiber noodle, and I'm like, is this a bit? What is this? Is it real? I tried using a combination of words. I don't see that it's a real thing, at least not on the English side of the internet. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to search for it in Japanese instead.
We'll have to ask some people over there in Japan if they've ever heard of fiber noodle.
What is fiber noodle? Why do we keep referencing it? Because it's on a table full of other real things. So
mostly
I don't know.
drinks.
Yeah.
And Ryo is going in pretty hard. Coyote's here. Miki and Umibozu obviously are here because they run the place. Kasumi is here.
I mean, doesn't she basically work there now?
She does. It's just interesting that they've added her to this season, and effectually she does nothing and adds nothing to the plot.
And she must only be part-time because, like, we don't even see her that often.
Also, you know, we're pretty much at the end of the season here. We completely forgot about Reika.
Where that hoe at?
But I digress. So, Coyote's trying to tell Ryo, slow down, slow your roll, you don't need to be drinking this much, and Ryo's like, nah, it's a party, everybody, come on, we're gonna drink together right now, woo! And
I don't really know that everybody else even gets to drinking, certainly not to the extent that he does.
we see a cheers happen at least.
Sure.
So, at least everybody had one drink.
Yeah.
But once Coyote says, alright, you've hit your limit, you've had enough, Ryo's over here like, I'll tell you when I've had enough, I'm gonna go somewhere else and then I'm gonna get more drink. I'm out.
Time for a bar crawl. And Kaori tries to stop him, but Umibozu's like, no, stop. Don't you think it's a special day for him? Which is a weird phrasing. I don't know if that's just the way it comes across in the English translation of the word special. Like
I just would have written the line differently. Like, I know they're probably going from literally what Umibozu said, but otherwise it's just a matter of, hey, you just got a reason to be drinking today, alright?
Because that reason's not a good reason.
It's not the greatest reason.
It's not a happy reason, because suddenly, here's Ryo all the way out at the docks, and he's just staring at a boat, which is out here going, you know, the noise boats make when they're about to, like, launch or whatever.
Something, yeah.
I don't know what it is boats do. What do you do on a boat?
I don't know.
What do you do? You just also hear it in, like, Star Trek and, like, Marvin the Martian's ships make those noises because they're basing it on naval shit. I don't know what boats do.
Look, that's not the point. The point is that Ryo is out here on the docks because we are told that here in universe, it is 1 year since his duel with Robert Harrison, who you guys might remember us covering that in the episode where we covered City Hunter 2 episodes 31 and 32.
You know, he's one of the white guys that Ryo has partnered up with before in the past.
America.
And again, he's basically Mick Angel from the manga, but we changed his name a little bit. And I don't know why they needed to do that.
Robert Harrison is not Mick Angel, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but why? They're the same person. They're clearly the same person. They're like barely different.
But they pronounce and spell their names completely differently.
Josh, no.
So, the thing about it is, and we had to look this up because thankfully now we have one of these MOOCs that you can get from Japan book stands. We looked it up to see, okay, well, how accurate is that to having it be 1 year after the fact? And usually City Hunter's pretty good about dates in the real world lining up with the show.
Broadcast dates, yeah. So, this is a little off.
Yeah, so we looked it up. Episode 32 of City Hunter 2. So that aired in November 18th of 1988, and this episode is airing, this is the first episode to air in 1990 on January 14th, so they're off by like 2 months, but I think that's close enough.
Sure, I agree. Oh yeah, Happy New Year, by the way.
Well, it's not New Year's yet.
It might be by the time they hear this.
As we're recording this, it's the day before New Year's Eve.
I say this because, like, New Year's shit is happening on screen, like, all the time in this episode.
Right, they don't say when New Year's has happened, or if New Year's has happened yet. We just see a lot of signs in the background that say New Year's Sale. New Year's Smile is one you see in the background.
Yeah. So I think our timing is pretty apt.
But to go ahead and refresh you guys' memory, what happened was this guy came back. He was one of Ryo's former partners. They had a duel. He was dueling with the Walther P38, which, as you might recall, is also Lupin III's gun of choice.
Which, as I've kind of mentioned, I mentioned this to you while we were rewatching this episode, like, if they ever commit to Lupin, like, really being the plot crossover of a City Hunter movie, not just some cameo off in the distance, okay? If they really commit, then they almost have to be like give Ryo a line about, hey, I once knew a guy with a Walther P38, and like, that's gotta be like a thing, and maybe that's why he likes Lupin, like he can identify with him.
Well, we'd have to see if that's where they would go with that. So, what happens here is that Umibozu says the reason Ryo's having to think about this is that, he's too kind of a man. And I'm like,
what?
Umibozu, you would never say that to his face ever. I don't want him to think I'm being soft, even though I am. But
I mean, killing a guy is very kind. I guess it's because it's what he wanted, sort of. I mean, he wanted the duel, and it just so happens that he lost the duel. That's how these things go, I guess. Very kind.
Because if I remember correctly, the duel was kind of... Because no, that's why he lost that duel, right? Because the weight was off on his gun or something?
Yeah, so we did have to go back and take a look at this and check what it was to remember, but to quote Robert, I almost called him Walter because his gun is a Walther. Anyway, to quote Robert, the gun was lighter since I removed the scope, so my aim was off.
But I think he did that on purpose so that he would lose.
Hard to say. That's a good headcanon. I understand how you got there, but it is a headcanon.
Well, anyway, you guys can go check out that episode. So after Ryo has gotten himself all nice and sad out here at the docks, he now heads over to Kabukicho in the arms of several beautiful women.
Doing more bar crawling. He's out for more drinks. All the ladies seem to be happy with him, but probably because he's like offering drinks and money and whatever.
And we notice off in the crowd, because it's pretty busy right now out in Kabukicho, there's one woman in like a trench coat and a hat that's clearly following Ryo's ass.
Just staring at him all the time, and he's like, huh. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go down to Nekomanma, which he's been to before.
Cabaret Nekomanma, yeah.
Where he just kind of goes in, and he dances around, and he sings, and he drinks, and he
takes his pants.
He takes off all his clothes, and all the ladies are like, woo, we're gonna dance with him too, woo, he's just the life of a party, woo!
And this woman has also followed him to Nekomanma, and is also still looking at him and just going, and then walks out, but Ryo notices this, even though he's drunk. And apparently he gets so shit-faced, he does not come home that night.
Now he goes, and he sleeps on a park bench.
And this woman has followed him to the park. We assume it's Shinjuku Park, because that's where everything happens in the show.
I mean, it would be very close to Kabukicho, so yeah.
And as he's there sleeping on this bench, because you used to be able to do that...
yeah, before they built benches that were designed to prevent homeless people from being able to sleep anywhere.
This woman is keeping eye out on him, and she takes her eyes off him for like 2 seconds, maybe that.
And then looks back at the bench and is like, ah, shit, he just poofed.
and he is poofed, like, nightcrawlered right behind her in the car.
Into the passenger seat of the car. She's driving an American style,
like a red,
Western. Well, but I say that because the steering wheel's on the left-hand side of the car.
Yes, this red, like, convertible.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, baby, what you looking at me for? But he's not really, he's actually kind of serious about it at first.
And she gives him this look, like this 1,000-yard stare, like she's got words for him, but she's not saying anything. And Ryo's like, look, baby, I can tell you're not from around here. I need to establish international relations with you, so give me a kiss.
She's not super into that, but somebody else is also not super into that. It's Kaori, who's actually been worried about him and decided, I think I'm gonna go out and look for his ass. How dare I go out and look for his ass? I know it's just gonna be this every time. I always find him with somebody. He's always just let me down all over again, so I gotta poof out the hammer again.
Except right now she doesn't use a hammer. She just uses like logs on a string.
Another one of those logs.
One of these Ewok traps.
Which she's done before. She's
done that. And, you know, they're kind of in a wooded area, so I guess she had some ready.
I mean, there's some trees kind of nearby in the park. They're around.
So they bring this woman back to the apartment to try and straighten everything out because Ryo is aware that she has been following him, and she intros herself to everybody.
In full English, mind you.
Her name is Sophie Silverman. She is the general manager for the Association for Private Detective Agencies in America.
Okay. And Kaori, like, repeats it back. She actually does a pretty good job. Like, oh, so then you're an agent.
You're part of the management firm.
You're a management firm. What do you mean there's a management firm for sweepers?
In America.
In America. Really? That just seems like a dumb way to handle it, because then everybody knows who all of the sweepers are. This just seems like bad business. And she even says, oh, and even Ryo is like really famous in America. And I'm like, no, this shouldn't be, like, sweepers need to, like, stay undercover, but Ryo's also not doing a very good job of staying undercover in Japan either, because most people know who he is. Most people know how to get in contact with him, so I guess fine.
Well, you gotta think about that, though, historically, on top of the fact that he's not very good about keeping his identity secret here in Japan, because they have a hotline, and they've got mugs, and they've got towels,
and flyers, and business cards,
and business cards,
and now they've set up the Saiba Corporation or whatever the fuck.
He's already had, like, I think 3 or 4 American partners. So, like,
he kind of keeps blowing through them and getting them all killed, so...
Yeah, that does tend to happen. So, they're aware of him in the U.S. They're aware. And she says, yeah, you're pretty famous in the U.S., and we're over here joking to ourselves, not as much as he is in France.
Yeah, exactly. At least in France, he has a different name of Nicky Larson.
Well, yeah, at least he goes by a different name, but does the exact same shit.
Yeah.
So Sophie's out here like, so the reason I'm here is I would like to promote him in America again. I would like to be his U.S. agent. Not the John Walker U.S. agent, just an agent for him in the U.S.
But I don't want to do it completely sight unseen. I want to test his skills. I want to see what he does for his job, like, for real, before I commit to this.
Yeah, I want to see him in the field. I want to see how he works. I want to maintain close contact.
And mind you, Ryo is over here like, well, I already just don't like how, like, the way you've been looking at me. I don't like the way you've been following me. But Kaori is very much into it, like, oh, but we could make so much money. Come on now. No, look, listen, ma'am, no, it's okay. I'm going to teach you exactly how this goes, because I operate with him here. Yes, you can have that close contact or whatever. We're gonna stay in touch, and you're gonna see what he does. And then Ryo decides, oh, this is my ticket in to closer relations with the white lady. So,
I mean, Ryo loves him some white women, and you know what?
I don't think he cares.
It tracks.
I genuinely don't think he cares what nationality or ethnicity.
No, he's pretty equal opportunity, to be quite honest.
Very equal opportunity misogynist, yes.
Yes. So the 3 of them hit the street because the only way to get a job is to go ahead and check the chalkboard out at Shinjuku Station. Kaori hasn't done that yet today, apparently. But before they get to the board, we see this crowd of like 8 women coming up like, Ryo, over here, Ryo! And Sophie's having to ask Ryo, hey, who are all those women? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it, baby, those are my fans. I'm pretty well known around here.
And they're like, the hell we are! You owe all of us money!
You've been drinking for free too long. pay up.
And so one's like, I got his wallet, and another one's like, I got his shoes.
I got his pants. And they leave his ass in like his boxers there on the street.
Somehow he got clothes again.
Apparently, like, the way the lines work there is that Cowdy basically had to go buy him another outfit.
God, what a loser. It just leeching off all these
if
women
I'm
around
Cowdy
him.
at this point, though, I carry an extra set of clothes for Rio because at some point he's going to end up naked.
And usually that's his choice. Where
Usually.
he ends up naked. Usually. He's just trying to get out of his clothes all the time. Anyway, so now they're downstairs. They're down under the train station. They're at the chalkboard. And Cowry's like, so, this is my job. This is what I do. The client figures out that they want City Hunter. And they want to set up a meeting. So they write the XYZ on the chalkboard. And then I come over here. And then I decide whether or not I'm going to meet up with them. Because sometimes I might just leave their ass where they say they're gonna be.
Depending, yes. And so they do have an XYZ on the chalkboard currently, and Cowdy's looking into it, and she's like, okay, well, this seems like a pretty straightforward case.
And the white lady here is like, oh, so you're kind of acting like his manager right now. She's like, yeah, you could say that. I'm the manager.
And Sophie, reading into this immediately, is like, okay, so you guys work together. You guys in a relationship?
And they're both more Cowry than Rio is just trying to play it off. Like, no, but Rio's really leaned into it. Like, bleh. Ugh!
No, we're just business partners.
Jeez.
But Sophie's like, are you guys sure? Because, like, you're in the right conditions for it, and, you know, if the job's dangerous, it makes more sense. You know, you guys could be an item. But Rio fires back at her like, oh, would you know that from personal experience, Sophie? You want to talk about that?
No, I do not.
And she dodges and asks Cowdy, okay, tell us what your case is for the week.
Nice pivot there.
If you dodged any harder, you'd go through the wall into the trains oncoming.
So, okay, they do have a job. So Cowry's looking at the job and she's like, oh, no, wait, I know who this is who's requesting this job. She's Miss what? She Miss what now? What?
She's somebody who's trying out for a beauty job, basically, as Miss BodyCon. So I assume it's Miss Body Contestant or something, Body Contest. It's somebody who's like a supermodel.
Sure, yeah. And Rio, shockingly, is like, nope, don't want to do it.
We're not taking that case. I'm not gonna show off my best.
It's weird. You know it. I know it. Cowry knows it. Like, what the fuck? This is exactly who you want. What are you talking about? And he's just, no, not this time.
It's not a good show of my skills. And Sophie kind of picks up on this, and she's like, no, every job's a good show of your skills. You should take this job. And he's like, ah, shit.
And Cowry's like, yeah, I like the way she thinks. Let's go. They go and they meet her. I think that's probably outside the train station somewhere out on the street. And they're sitting at, like, a bench. And Rio's got to put on a pair of sunglasses. Like, yeah, this'll do it. This'll keep people from recognizing me.
Cowdy's even like, why are you wearing sunglasses? You never wear sunglasses. And he's just like, I just want to feel cool. I want to look cool. I'm a cool guy.
You're very Miami Vice right now.
Actually, he looks hella Miami Vice with the sunglasses on. But they meet up with this woman who's our client for like 5 seconds. A woman by the name of Midoriko Sayama.
It doesn't really matter. She's not going to be gone in about 3 minutes. So
maybe less.
Yeah.
She fills in Cowdy. Oh, thank God you're here. You're from City Hunter, right? I have a stalking problem.
There's been a man. He's been stalking me for like a week. Cowry's like, all right, describe this guy. Oh, he's just so weird. He just keeps showing up. He's just super aggressive and won't leave me alone. We see a shot of just a guy in shadow who
fully blacked out.
He's climbed up a telephone pole.
Like some kind of a perverted Spider-Man. And he's climbing around, and apparently he's accosted her at the pool, at her aerobics class, just out on the street, just trying to grab ass, and has this creepy looking grin. And Cowdy's starting to get a profile put together here.
And Rio is realizing, shoot, the job is about me specifically, and he's trying to sneak away.
Because the woman here is asked by Cowdy, well, can you describe him for me? What did he look like? Oh, well, he's a muscular build guy, but he looks thinner in his clothes.
He's like 190 centimeters tall. He's like 6'3". He's pretty tall, all things considered.
He's kind of got medium length hair. He wears a jacket with rolled up sleeves and a t-shirt underneath. He always has this perverted bean face look on his face all the time.
And his eyes are also very perverted. Everything about him's really perverted. And Cowry's like, all right, I'm on the lookout for this guy. In fact, yeah, let me get this guy right here.
And she like like just grabs Rio and pulls him in. Is this your man?
Just pulls out, what is it, a 10,000 ton
1 million.
hammer? Is it 1 million?
It's 1 million.
A 1 million ton hammer. Nails him, and the lady's like, oh my god, you did it so fast! Wow!
Again, I love whenever they just blatantly show that Cowdy can pull out a hammer that's just a light construct.
Yeah, I was saying to you while we were rewatching this, like, man, like, this wasn't the intention, but they could really run some games on this town. They could really be scamming people. Like, Rio could just be out here accosting women as he does, and then they
just
set
have
up,
Cowdy come in.
They just set up a business of Cowrie stops the pervy man that you've all been complaining about, and all the women just be like, oh wow, she got him! Like,
I mean, she does it already, but it's the fact that she's doing it because it needs to be done, not to get money out of it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if she took payment for this job. It doesn't say that she didn't. She took, like, the praise for it, for
well, she
stopping
absolutely
him.
took the praise for it, and to be fair, if I'm that woman and I think she got the guy immediately and I saw immediate results, I would pay extra.
That's true. Rio, get that.
I was about to say that exact thing. Because remember, Rio Saiba is the natural enemy of the helicopter.
Oh man, we didn't even mention when he was having his sad flashbacks at the docks, he was remembering all the good times with Robert, and one of those good times was the two of them were teaming up on a helicopter.
They double teamed a helicopter. So, like, that's just how he relaxes. It's like, yeah, we're gonna go drink some beer, shoot some pool, and maybe shoot down a helicopter or two, an Apache, something like that.
That's just what we do on the weekends for fun. It's how we relax.
So, yeah, that got wrapped up in, like, a minute flat.
Yeah, we're good.
Except we're not. Because as all this stuff is happening here in the park, and Cowdy has whooped Rio's ass thoroughly, across the park in a van, we see two guys sitting in there. One guy with, like, Bozo the Clown hair in a red suit, and another guy who's in the driver's seat, more casually dressed. Mm-hmm. But he's got binoculars out, and he's looking dead at Sophie, and he's getting ready to pull his gat out to cap her. Bozo guy, who doesn't get named, calls out to the guy, hey, Serrano. Like, this dude's name's Serrano.
His name's we actually got one of their names.
Well, what's the other dude's name? His name?
Cilantro. Yeah.
If you get that, good on you.
It's a very deep cut Will Ferrell quote, but...
Yeah. So Serrano over here is like, hey, we have orders over here. If we ever see Sophie, we're supposed to kill her on sight. And dude, who, you know what? I'm just going to call him Cilantro anyway.
Cilantro and Serrano.
Cilantro is over here like, nah, dude, you don't want to do that. That dude that just got hit with that hammer, I'm pretty sure that's City Hunter.
And dude's like, that was City Hunter? But at the same time, I'm thinking, man, if they just saw that go down, they would think City Hunter sucks ass. They should just deal with this right now.
So they back off. They do not go ahead and engage right then and there.
So instead, they take Sophie back to their apartment. They give her a room in the building, let her stay there. Meanwhile, Rio needs some divine punishment of his own. He's always being thrown up on the roof and tied up in a futon or whatever.
This is one of those times.
He's very upset. And Cowrie's just kind of, how many times we gotta teach you this lesson, old man?
And quite literally, this is what Rio is saying as he's tied up trying to get free of the futon he's wrapped up in. He's calling out, help me God, help me Buddha, help me Cowrie. like Ricky Bobby over here. Another Will Ferrell joke.
Help me, Khonshu! Use your moon magic!
We've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals lately.
Yeah.
And he's out here trying to get free. Cowdy's like, I'm gonna leave your ass out here, and you think about what you did.
You know that never works.
It doesn't ever work.
It doesn't work.
But at least it makes her feel like she did something.
She can feel that way all she wants, because guess what? Rio got out of it. Again, like, he's still bundled up in the futon right now, right? But he's swinging around, and then he's hopping on his feet from ledge to ledge, and then grabs an awning, like a cement awning.
Well, yeah, because like he's still wrapped up in the futon.
Right,
he's just managed to.
He's not swinging from the rope anymore. The rope is no longer attached to the roof.
He's swinging right now, trying to get into Sophie's room from the outside, right?
But he unswings from the roof, and it's just that the futon is still tied up around him.
But yeah, he uses his teeth to grab on to the outer rim
awning, yeah,
of the window of Sophie's room.
Yeah, he did
biting through concrete.
We both saw it and just went,
no.
Just imagining the sensation on your teeth is kind of, imagining eating concrete.
Yeah, if you've seen any video of what a curb stomp is, you don't want that.
Bro.
And yet Rio can do it and not be hurt. That's how you remember this is still an animated show. Rio grabs onto the awning and is like, aha, I found you, sir. Huh?
But Sophie's getting up and she's walking out the door, and now Rio's like, oh no, she's gonna be walking around this apartment and I gotta go find her. And he really does, because she has decided, what's down here? And she goes down into the basement.
It's less like she's wandering around. She's specifically looking for something.
She is on a mission. And actually, even before she got down there, she was looking in a locket, and there's a photo of some guy.
Some white guy.
In a suit that
looks blue suit.
Suspiciously like the one that Robert used to wear. But who knows? It could be anybody.
It could be anybody. It could be any white guy.
Know. It could be any white guy in a blue suit that's from America that
has blonde hair.
Has blonde hair.
So she makes her way down to the basement, specifically to the armory. And he has a specific case where he has... I don't remember if he mentioned this back in City Hunter 2. He has kept Robert's specific weapon, the Walther P38, in its own case.
I mean, I think it's easy to just insert that in here. I don't know that it needed to be stated prior. I don't think it was important until now. Like, yep, he totally kept it. Cool. So yeah, she found it. She opened it up, and she's like, I'm just gonna hug this gun.
And Rio's like, what are you doing down here?
Do you even know what that is? That's a very important Walther P38, and it's the only gun in my entire armory that I kind of wish you wouldn't touch, so can you not, please? And she's like, no, I need this.
I know how to use it.
And I know how to use it. You just point and click. And she did, but it's not loaded. So, I mean, thank God, because she was very committed to pulling that trigger.
Yeah, and Rio's like, that's the second time that specific gun's been pointed at me. And she's like, yeah, what happened the first time? And Rio's like, look, I don't want to talk about that. You can't touch this anymore. I'm taking it back.
Okay, so he took it back.
So we get to the next morning. They're having breakfast, all three of them at the picnic table. And Cowdy's like, last I saw you, you were tied up on the roof. What'd you do when you got out?
Nothing. I genuinely didn't touch. He really didn't. He really didn't, accost her or anything. But she tried to make it sound as bad as possible.
Yeah, Cowdy asks Sophie directly.
Was everything fine last night? Are you okay? And Sophie gets up and walks away. And as she's walking away, she's like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. I mean, we were just alone in a room together.
Alone in a small room together.
Which unfortunately is true. She's just choosing to leave out a lot of information, which gives Cowrie the dark Brandon eyes.
Yeah,
big glowing red eyes.
Rio's just like, oh shit. We cut to Sophie walking down the hallway outside the living room, and you hear Rio getting his ass beat. And then he just goes crashing through the wall head first, popping out right in front of Sophie, and he's got this pained look on his face first, and then immediately jumps to, so where are you going? What are you doing today? I love it every time they do that. It's so funny.
Very cartoonish snap change in personality.
And she's like, oh, well, it's going to be the same as yesterday. I'm here to observe how you work. And so I'm not sure where they're even going now, because they don't have a case right now.
No, they don't. They didn't even go back to the chalkboard.
Unless this is what they're doing, but I don't think they have to get in the car to go to the chalkboard. For whatever reason.
Yeah, I thought they could just, walk to the train station.
That's what I thought. Because we've never confirmed how far away Rio's apartment is from the train station.
Have we confirmed that the building is even in Shinjuku? It would be really weird.
We've always assumed that it is.
It would be really weird if it wasn't, I guess.
In my own personal headcanon, it's on the same block where the Yagami Detective Agency is in Judgment.
You think that they live in Kabukicho?
I mean, maybe.
No, I don't think that street is busy enough.
Okay, well, then it's somewhere else in Shinjuku. We'll have to come up with an approximation later. The point is, they've gotten into Cowdy's Fiat.
Yes.
It's Sophie in the front seat with Cowdy, and Rio's tied up in the back.
She's still mad at him. She gotta keep him tied up.
So now they're on the highway, and that van from earlier with Serrano and Cilantro is tailing them, and now they don't care. They can see that Rio's tied up in the back, and they're like, all right, let's engage.
Just start blasting.
So first thing they do is they run up on the Fiat, and they rear end her on the highway.
Behind. Then Serrano sticks his head out the window and just starts blasting and blasts several holes in the back windshield. Cowrie's like kind of ducking, and I'm shocked that nobody's getting hit, because like Rio definitely should have been hit unless he had ducked all the way like under the seat, right?
Or something like that, yeah.
But I don't think he did. In fact, like, he kind of gets blown out the back window.
Well, yeah, because like they're going all around this thing, quite honestly, like one of these Yakuza levels where you're in a car getting shot at.
Right.
Because the van is maneuvering all around the Fiat, just blowing holes in the whole thing. And yeah, eventually the back hatchback of the Panda gets blown off.
Yes.
Rio goes flying out, flipping through the air while tied up, and somehow lands on his feet on like the guardrail
of like that cement divider that is often on freeways, right? Crazy, not realistic, but Rio is also somewhat not realistic, and Cowrie has magical super dimension hammers. So
we're gonna let that one slide.
So whatever. If we ever see the Panda Fiat again, it's gonna be an entirely new car, because there's no getting this one back.
This one is not repairable.
This is demolished. I mean, somehow she's limping it off the exit ramp.
Even though the van like was trying to get her up against the wall and was scraping the side of the Panda.
Yeah.
Somehow, dude didn't pay attention to the road. Whoever's driving, was it Serrano driving or Cilantro driving?
I mean, I thought it was Serrano.
I think it's Serrano, yeah.
But he was also shooting the gun, so I don't know.
Either way, they almost run their van into the exit ramp and just barely dodge out of the way.
The divider of the exit ramp, yeah.
So Cowdy and Sophie get off the highway and make it to an abandoned hospital-looking building.
It's a crazy-ass place to go, but okay. There they are.
They're running inside, and Cowdy's trying to get some information out of Sophie, like, do you know why they're shooting at you? Do you know what's going on?
And she's playing kind of dumb.
And she's like, I don't know, but they're here. They already found us. Cowdy whips out the snub nose.
Which we haven't seen her pull that gun out in kind of a while.
I don't think she's pulled it out all season.
Maybe not.
I don't think she's pulled it out since City Hunter 2.
You might be right about that.
I'm pretty sure I'm right about that, yeah.
Pretty sure you are.
And Cowdy's like, no, I got this, I think. All right, I'm gonna go down there and deal with him.
So she going out there, she's sneaking around, but they do see her, right?
One of them sees her. Serrano, I think, this is how I took it. Serrano starts sneaking around kind of in the open to draw Cowdy's attention.
Yeah.
But Cilantro is packing a sawed-off shotgun.
Oh, yeah, that sucker was crazy.
And, like, she's in his sights. Cilantro has got her dead to rights.
So Rio somehow eventually got there. Remember, he flew out of the car, so he had to run there?
Well, I don't get how it works, because 1, Rio's on foot now. 2, he was tied up. 3, he does not know where they went.
He ran off the highway, like, unless he still has a tracking device in the Panda or whatever, right? He could maybe still track the Panda.
But how is he going to do it? He tracks from the Panda.
God, I don't... Okay, but, like, okay, no.
Yeah, see? It doesn't make sense.
It's 1990 now, and he has new technology, Josh.
Oh, my God.
It's a welcome to the 90s, Josh. Isn't that what people used to say? Like,
wait, so Rio is on foot. Cowdy's somewhere else. It is January 14th, we're assuming, because that's
1990.
Rio is literally running in the 90s.
He's literally running in the 90s. Yeah, I would say that's an accurate description of what is happening right now.
Yeah, Rio is running in the 90s to catch up to where they are. Somehow, he found where their car was, he didn't get spotted, and he's got his gun on him. So thankfully, he shoots the gun out of Cilantro's hand, the shotgun.
He bleeding. So he got him, like, it was either the wrist or the palm.
It looked like the wrist, because
there was blood up on the wrist. There just looked like it was pooling in the palm, you know? So, he's hurt.
And Rio's like, all right, I got this. Go find Sophie. I'll take care of these 2 guys.
And so he finds the other guy. The other guy's also got a gun.
This dude is trying to get the drop on Rio. So, like, he throws a rock past Rio to try and get him to look somewhere else.
And Rio hears the rock, which is what the guy was trying to get to happen. And the guy's like, haha, I got you, bitch. And Rio, the camera does that nifty, like, when something is important, you see it happen 3 times in a row just for extra emphasis, added effect. And you see him just turn his torso, not even his whole body, just his torso turns all the way around, blam, shoots the gun out of this guy's hand. And this guy's not bleeding, so I figure he only hit him in the gun.
But then Rio a second time shoots, and then does that thing he does often where he puts a bullet up the barrel of the other guy's gun while it's in midair, and then he blew it to smithereens.
I'm saying it was a very narrow thing to have to hit.
Yes, it was a very small target, probably the size of a womp rat, maybe smaller. Either way, Ryo did this amazing feat with his...
Womp rat is no bigger than 2 meters.
Well, this is much smaller than 2
This is
meters.
much smaller than 2 meters.
In any case, Ryo has been a boss and blown this guy's gun up. So these two guys get scared and run off back into the van and book it.
And Ryo's sitting here thinking, glad that's over, until another gun is pointed at him in just a minute.
And this gun is a Walther.
This gun's a Walther.
Because at some point, Sophie, I guess, went back down there and she's like, you can't tell me what to do about this gun. I have a reason for this gun.
I'm gonna take this gun. And so she took it, and now they're down here, and she's like, well, now I'm pointing the gun at you. This time it's got a bullet in it, so there.
Yeah. And Ryo's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm here to take revenge for this gun's previous owner.
And that's the episode, because this is a 2-parter.
Yeah, like that's where it ends. It zooms out and we see the visage of Robert hanging above Ryo's head.
He looks a little sad. Mind you, he's dead. So
yeah, he's got a reason.
he doesn't look very happy that this is happening.
Yeah.
No, don't do this in my name, guys. Come on, I'm not there to tell you to stop.
Well, I mean,
What are you-
literally in the preview, Ryo says this isn't what Robert wanted. He didn't want someone to take revenge for him.
I mean, like, yeah, he agreed to the duel. He dueled because he wanted to duel.
Yeah, like Robert knows the rules of a duel. That's why he did it.
In fact, I think he's the one that said, hey, we got a duel.
Yes, that's how that happened.
And he was like, well, you got me. Bleh.
Exactly. So, like, I don't understand, like, obviously that's why we need to watch the second part, why Sophie is even doing any of this, because she seems to not have the whole story, which also happens a lot here in City Hunter.
Yeah, like, this is not the first time some white lady came and showed up and tried to get revenge for somebody else that Ryo killed, who agreed to be killed. Like, this has happened before. Again, this season is just greatest hits. So
It is greatest hits, yes. But at the same time, I almost want to put that on Hojo, because he keeps doing that.
No, I think this is Sunrise. I don't think, I feel like
We can
City
actually
Hunter
look that up. We can actually look that up. Hang on.
Josh is walking away, but City Hunter 3, I'm pretty positive, is largely filler. What, does our Mook have chapters of the manga that coordinate with the episodes?
Actually, yes, it does.
Oh, okay. Help me out here. What does it say?
Okay, hold on. We are in City Hunter 3. It does not correspond to a
You
manga
see?
chapter.
City Hunter 3 is filler. We're in the filler arc right now.
Actually, this is a good time to bring it up because we're almost done with the season. Only 2 episodes this season have corresponded to manga chapters.
Okay, which 2 are those? Now I'm curious, because now
Episodes 4 and 5.
Which episodes were those?
That was a 2-parter. That was... hold on, now I gotta go to my notes to jump back real quick. That was Dangerous Detective Game, A Python for the Lady, Parts 1 and 2.
A Python for the late... What happened in that one?
Ryo having to teach somebody how to fire a gun.
But then they never used it, right?
Pretty sure they didn't.
And that wasn't the weather lady?
No.
Hold on, I can find this out myself. 4 and 5, Python for the weather lady.
No weather lady, just Python for a lady.
Just a lady. Which lady were you? Oh, she was like the detective, and then she was on a case, and she didn't want to shoot a gun, and it turned out to be way bigger shit than it needed to be, and her dad was trying to get her to stop doing, or uncle, or whoever was trying to get her to stop doing the detective work.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then she never ended up shooting the gun, right?
Right.
Like, she decided not to, like, you know what, I don't want that responsibility. Okay, so anyway, that's a manga chapter.
Those were the only 2 episodes this season that corresponded to manga chapters. Otherwise, you could almost skip the whole season, except for these 2 episodes, which they tie back to another character.
That's what I'm saying, like, this whole season almost is filler.
You could argue, aside from 4 episodes... But no, you can't say the whole thing is filler, because the last 2 episodes we covered, even though they're technically filler, they're important. The wedding.
Well, okay, yeah, they're important, sure. Like, I would say if you're gonna watch any filler, it should be that. You are correct.
So you could almost ditch half this season then.
What about City Hunter 91?
No, there's a lot in City Hunter 91.
Okay, yeah, City Hunter 91 does correspond with particular manga chapters. Except for the last 3, they say original.
Yeah.
Last 3 episodes ever of the show are original episodes unique to the anime and not to the manga at all.
Right.
Okay, great. I know we went on about that for a while, but you know what? This episode's a little short anyway.
A little bit, yeah. But no, the thing of it is, it's interesting that they decided to do this again. Did they think no one would notice?
What?
That another woman has come back from Ryo's past to get revenge on somebody he already agreed to have a duel with?
Well, once again, they're just doing greatest hits. So I bet you they did notice, but they don't care because it worked the first time.
I guess.
Well, anyway.
Well, in any case, we'll cover more of that here in the second episode when we see how this gets resolved and Ryo has to convince somebody, hey, look, don't shoot at me, and Cowdy, why are you getting in the way of the bullets? You should stop doing that.
Yeah, don't do that. But don't worry, she's not gonna die. There's still a whole other season to go.
Yeah, there's still a whole other season and several movies.
Several TV films, and also films. Like, movie, like, we put these in theater films.
Yes. Several of those. So I guess come back next time to go ahead and see the finale of this show in this season.
Yes, please come back next time when we cover the 13th episode of City Hunter 3, Goodbye City, A Farewell Gift, Part 2.
And if you want to catch us both outside this podcast, you can always find us now over on Blue Sky. I'm at JoshKnightFirst.bsky.social.
And I'm at MarzGurl.com. Thank you all so much for listening to our 128th episode of MokkoriPlay. And if you don't come back next episode, Josh won't come back either.
Where am I going? Where am I gonna go? I do this podcast, I go to work, and that's it.
Yeah,
I'm not going anywhere.
You and the listeners can just go somewhere together if you're not both not gonna come back.
Okay, we're going to Disneyland.
Sweet.
All right. Bye.